Let's see. Okay, I think we're live. Everybody, I guess, hit the okay if you can. Welcome to the 30th Judicial District Nominating Commission Zoom meeting, scheduled today for 12 p.m. Before we get started, I would ask Shelby, please, to take a minute to call into the conference call line to see if anybody is waiting to listen in.
I will do that right now.
You're helping people for free. Access code followed by the pound or hash sign. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash.
I do not believe anybody's on the line, but I'll leave it open for the duration of our meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right, as you know, at this point, we had 3 applications for the magistrate position. And of those 3, one of them, Candace Latin, wanted to be considered also for the district. She applied for the district judge position, and then she'd also like to be considered for the magistrate judge position. And the other 2 individuals only applied for the magistrate position, and that's Peter Olson and Rosanna Mathis. So, number 1, the first question is, do we want to interview both Mr. Olson and Ms. Mathis? If the answer is yes, please raise your hand. Okay, that looks like everybody. Oh, except Greg and Sydney, would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Sydney, you want to interview both of those individuals? Okay, well, we have a majority. Sydney, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Yes.
Okay. Did you want to interview, everyone agreed to interview both Mr. Olson and Miss Mathis. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Fine.
great. So the question is, do we want to add this to our existing schedule, or do we want to move these interviews to the following day on Friday? I don't know, Shelby, I couldn't find, I know you sent me something with, with everybody, but
Yeah,
if we were to add it, I'm sorry?
I did send you the agenda that I drafted for the
Right.
interviews.
Yeah, I couldn't find it I don't think it's there, but if, since I don't have it right in front of me, Shelby, what time is lunch?
We have lunch scheduled from 11:45 to 12:15.
Okay, and then at 12:15, we interview 2 additional people?
At 12:15, we have Shannon Kelly for the district judge position, and then I have Candace Latin at 12:45. And then we have another break that I've worked in before we would start district magistrate interviews.
Okay, so since we're already interviewing Miss Latin, it would mean that we would schedule, well, Shelby drew him out of a hat, but schedule Mr. Olson from 1:30 to 2 p.m. and Ms. Mathis would be from 2 to 2:30, and then we would have the rest of the afternoon to discuss and make decisions. Do you want to go ahead and do that, or do you want to move it to Friday?
I'm fine with doing all of them in one day.
I'm with one day.
I'd prefer one day.
Great. Okay. Does anybody disagree with one day? Okay, Shelby will go ahead and schedule those. She drew those out of a hat. So having determined that, the only remaining question is, because as I've noted before, and this commissioner already knows, that when you pick a magistrate judge, you pick the magistrate judge, you don't pick 3 finalists, you pick the magistrate. And we had discussed earlier the option of, even though we knew about the magistrate position second, that you would go ahead and pick the magistrate judge before you pick the district judge, and then you would send the 3 names up to the governor's office. Is that what you would still like to do? If you would like to do that, will you raise your hand? Or would you like discussion? Okay. Doug,
I'm just confused. So the only applicant it's germane to, as I understand, would be Judge Latt.
correct.
Is it, and this is a question, not a statement, if she was selected as the magistrate judge, is she excluded from being submitted to the governor on the other 3 for the district
Yes.
spot? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, then I don't have any objection. I just was always unclear that those were mutually exclusive.
All right, well, maybe they shouldn't be mutually exclusive. How do you want to handle it? I'm not sure. I could make a, recommendation, but the problem is that if your number one choice is for magistrate goes up,
If
I
she
don't know. Go ahead.
if she had turned in her paperwork, which was her intent, as I understand the facts, and I've not talked to her direct, but if she turned in her paperwork, I believe, I have not been on your committee before, so the committee members that have been here can correct me. I think she's been a regular applicant in the past for the district slot.
Right.
So had she turned in her paperwork as she had intended to do, she would be a magistrate judge and this position would not be open as we sat here today. She would have also, based upon past history and what we've seen, be applying for the district slot. And so it seems to me, if we make them mutually exclusive, and I truly don't care, but it's a different handling than what we would have had things followed their normal sequence.
Right. Yeah, so maybe the only thing would be is if we don't exclude her from consideration, or you guys don't, and then it goes up, we would have another magistrate position open.
I understand that part. We'd have to meet again. I get it.
Yeah.
And again, I don't care.
And that's fine. I mean, that's fine.
Is this something that we could decide after we hear everybody? Because this might not be an issue once we hear the interviews.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Let's make the decision, or you guys can make the decision. It could be part of the discussion at, when we're all done with the interviews at 2:30 or whatever.
And not to monopolize everybody's time, but I think it fits here. I've looked at the statute and I'm utterly confused, and it's germane, I think, on both slots. We have non-district resident applicants. As the court understands that statute, are they on an equal playing field as a district resident, or do we have to make a finding that we don't have 3 qualified applicants before a non-district applicant can be considered?
Okay, so let's talk about the magistrate position first. Yeah, we would have to consider non-county, and non-district, for the magistrate to get 3. So because we, according to the statute, if we don't have 3 qualified applicants, we can consider all 3 of those. Did we have any out of district apply for the district court position? I can't remember.
I thought one of the applicants was, I may be mistaken, the one up by Clearwater.
Yeah. So if you don't have the 3, then the way the statute reads is, then you can consider the out of district. So that is true. That's how it goes. Is everybody familiar with that? I don't have it right in front of me, but I'll bring it with me. I'll have my whole handbook and everything with all the statutes when I come down. And I'll distribute that, and we can all take a look at it. But right, I mean, we can only read the the legislature has said what they said. I don't think it's ambiguous. So, but I'm not exactly sure whether does it say 3 qualified applicants, or does it say qualified applicant? Do you remember, Doug?
I don't, honestly, I don't. I tried to find it earlier and I got tied up and didn't. I looked at it about a month ago. And again, I don't want to monopolize the time. That's just something I need clarified in my head when we get there.
Yeah. All right. I can see Shelby right now looking it up. But Lance, you look like you have a question.
I don't know. I think it's a little confusing myself. So.
Shelby, are you finding it? I mean, if you just give me a second, I can find it.
Well, and we truly don't have
Sorry.
the answer today. I don't want to sidetrack everyone. It's just something I wanted you all to know. I have an ambiguity in my head on it, at least. And
Okay, so you're thinking that the statute is ambiguous.
no, I think that I'm not smart enough to figure it out, and I've had 2 interpretations. This isn't being asked in isolation. My understanding, the last time you all went through this process, and I wasn't on the committee, that there was a question, and one of the 3 names that went up at the last go round was in fact a non-resident of our district. And it was my understanding there was at least some question, maybe as high up as the governor's office, as to whether or not that applicant was on an equal plane as those that were residents. That's where this comes from.
Okay.
Again, I don't need to know the answer today, but I'm going to need to know when we meet what everybody's thinking is.
Okay, so it's 20-2909. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, and then 2903B. And it says, if there are not at least 3 attorneys deemed qualified by the District Judicial Nominating Commission who reside in the judicial district and who are willing to accept the nomination to fill a vacancy in a district judge position, the nominating commission need not limit its consideration of nominees to attorneys residing in the judicial district. So that's 202903B.
Okay, and that's also 2909.
Yeah.
20. Yeah, I will bring it with me. So this is probably highly unusual, and I'm just gonna share my screen. So, does everybody see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it big
Yes.
enough? So it's talking about 3 attorneys that the commission deems qualified. So you could have 10 people apply, but if they don't believe that at least 3 of them are qualified, then the commission need not limit its consideration to attorneys residing in the judicial district. So again, I think, is everybody done reading this or?
Yes.
Okay, so again, I think it's, something that we will have 2 issues kind of discuss at 2:30 when we're done interviewing, because that's the only time that the commission is going to be able to determine whether there are at least 3 attorneys that you, the commission, feel are qualified and who are willing to accept the nomination. So, okay, so just remember that there's 2 items. Okay, all good stuff, Doug. We really appreciate you bringing that up.
Well, sorry again to sidetrack us, but thanks.
No, you're not. It's not sidetracking anything. I think it's good that everybody knows in advance. Anything else? That's kind of covers our agenda. Let's see. Number 6 is any other matters. Nothing?
I had
Okay.
a question.
Yeah.
Are we gonna appoint members to call the references on the magistrate?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. That's a yes. Goodness gracious. I must have missed that. Okay. Yes. What were there, did we have some members that weren't assigned before? I can't remember. Shelby, did we? Wait, your microphone's off.
I think everybody had somebody last time. Everybody doubled up.
Oh, not everybody. Yeah. Okay. But there was one team that already had 2 people. So we just need.
I think JC and I have 2 people on that, and selfishly, I've got to get a knee scoped Monday, so I don't want to take on anybody else.
No, you shouldn't have
If that's fine.
Right. So I need 2 teams to volunteer, one for Mr. Olson and one for Miss Mathis. Oh, come on, don't make me do this.
My other team members not here. I'm happy to do it, but I can't speak for Jason.
Okay, well, he's not here, so you get to speak for him. Do you have a preference about whether it would be Mr. Olson or Ms. Mathis?
I'll pick Mr. Olson.
Okay. Okay, I need another team to take Ms. Mathis.
Justin, are you game for another one?
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Hannah and Justin.
We'll take Ms. Mathis.
Okay. All right. Tracy, totally would have forgotten to do that. Thank you. Anything else that I forgot? Because obviously I'm not doing a very good job. Okay. All right. Then I will see you. And so you can, take Friday off your calendars now. So that frees up a whole day for you. Okay. And then
Well,
I'm sorry?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. My question was, do you think we'll be finished discussing Thursday? Historically, do you guys?
Historically, yes.
Okay,
I mean, I can't speak for this commission, but Lance is shaking his head. I can't see Greg whether he is, but yeah, it's usually not a protracted conversation. But you know, I mean, I can think of one commission assigned to a different justice that went a couple hours, but I think, does anybody disagree with that that's been on it before?
No.
Right. So that would, you know, I mean, it gives 2.5 hours. All right. All right. I can't wait to see you guys. Thanks again.
Thank you.